99.3 Nigeria Info. You're welcome again. If you're just joining us, it's your number one news, talk and sports station. And today, for the next 1 hour, we're talking about the continued detention of Sowore. And there have been a lot of agitations on social media and also by different groups on this. If you are just joining us, we are live on Facebook and YouTube. You can watch us on your devices right now, anywhere you are in the world, and leave us your comments on our conversation. If you want to look for us on Facebook, just do a quick search for Nigeria Info 993, Nigeria Info 99.3, and you find our live stream right there for you. Same on YouTube. Our Twitter is at Nigeria Info FM, at Nigeria Info FM, and you can leave us your thoughts and comments also on WhatsApp. The number to do that with is 08095975805, 08095975805. I'll be reading your comments and thoughts in a moment. I am Wemimo Adewuni, and you are welcome to the show. Now, let's remind you that Mr. Omoyele Sowore, who's the founder of Sahara Reporters and was also a presidential candidate in the general election held February this year, was detained in Lagos in August for calling for a revolution. Here are the details of the protest, which was tagged Days of Rage. August 5 was scheduled as a day for the start of the protest, which it was also intended to be a continuous action until results were recorded. It was meant to be a nationwide protest with over 25 states signing up to it. It was meant to also take place in major cities like Lagos, Abuja, Abeokuta, Akure, Owerri, Onitsha, Port Harcourt, Enugu, Nsukka, Okwa, Benin City, and others. The key demands of the protest included government's obligation to pay the 30,000 naira minimum wage, abolition of tuition fees in universities and secondary schools, stopping the killings in the country, and sacking all incompetent service chiefs. Some of the other requests also included stopping all estimated billings by power companies, providing prepaid meters for free, with communities reserving the right to audit the electricity bills they got, while also reviewing the licenses of all discos. Well, there are quite a number of people who have been in detention for a while, including El Zazaki and also Dasuki. Now, the first time Sowore was granted bail was on September 24, which was 6 weeks after he's been in detention, when he was arraigned before a court sitting in Abuja, which the government had ignored the bail conditions. Instead, by 30th of September, he was again arraigned before another high court in Abuja with the same charges as the first. October 4, a different judge again granted Sowore bail under strict conditions. The bail was set at 100 million naira with a requirement of two sureties who owned property in Abuja worth 50 million naira each. Other bail conditions was that he would not leave Abuja during the duration of his trial and had to deposit his passport with the court. After some modifications of the terms of his release on November 6th, an order was issued mandating that DSS release him. It's exactly 20 days after this order, and Sowore is still in detention. And we have joining us over the phone, Sheon Akinyemi. He's here from Enough is Enough Nigeria. Sheon, thank you for joining the show.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. We also have Sanami Koja, who is a news editor with Sahara Reporters. Sanami, good morning.
Good morning.
And thank you for joining us. Yes, let me start with you, Sanami. Well, Sowore was a presidential candidate, but was also the founder and an editor of Sahara Reporters. And many have said that his role with Sahara Reporters, being an investigative media outlet, might have stepped on some toes, you may want to say, and there might be an undertone to the continued detention. What do you make of this?
You cannot completely rule out the fact. As a matter of fact, it's one of the major reasons that watchers, observers, and people who are following the events have tagged as the reason why he was arrested. He's someone who has offended people. He used to describe himself as an equal opportunity offender. He has offended people.
Equal opportunity offender.
Yes, that is what he used to say.
That's quite a term.
Yeah, he has exposed powerful people. He has exposed corruption. He has exposed malfeasance. So I guess he knew he was an easy target. He's always been an easy target. And I know that for some of these corrupt people that are bent on ensuring that Nigeria doesn't break free from where it is today, this is sort of payback for them for, all the exposition that he has done over the years. So yes, we cannot completely rule that factor out.
Well, the courts have ruled on this matter. There have been about 2 court judgments, in fact, asking that he be granted bail, yet he's still in detention. And the big question of head Nigerians ask is, what are his lawyers doing about this?
Well, you see, I think Nigeria is at a critical point, which is why it's important for everyone to be conscious about the events and the things that are happening. The country has gotten to an extent where the judiciary has been so intimidated that they are malleable, they are susceptible to the wishes of the executive. It's like one arm of government controlling the other arms of government. The other day we had the Senate President Lawal saying that he will do whatever the president asks. We had judges who, when their court orders are disregarded, they entertain the same people when they come before them. Again, don't forget that Sowore'S cases, those come up on the 5th and 6th. It is our expectation that he'll probably be arraigned before the same judge who granted the bail to Sowore in the first place. So the fact that things like this go on and it is entertained by, a judiciary that is heavily corrupt, heavily intimidated, I think that is a very critical problem, because if this can happen, what I always ask or tell people is, if this can happen to a man of Sowore'S renown, if it can happen to a man of Sowore'S caliber, what happens when it happens to the ordinary Nigerian? Who speaks for him? Can the judiciary protect him when such a thing happens? So these are the issues that we have to consider when we're looking at the role of the judiciary in all this.
Let me speak to Sheol. Sheol, the EIE has been quite in the forefront, demanding the release of Sowore, with activities and speaking to the public about this. And the DSS gave some reasons for still keeping Sowore. Can you run us through some of these reasons given by the DSS?
The one I remember was there was a time they said that nobody came for him. There was also a time they said that the people that came for him did not meet up with the requirements. And I kept wondering that what are the requirements or criteria? Do you need to have PhD or what are they? They need to spell it out, that what are the requirements that they need if they are being sincere for people to kind of secure the release of...
Are these requirements different from the requirement laid down by the court for his bail conditions?
I wonder. They just said that the people that came, all those things are really kind of clear, just to delay him in their custody and then to while away time. That's all. They are just trying to play around it. It's not as if they are being sincere with their excuses.
So there are lawyers involved in this, and here is where I get in the corner and I wonder what's really going on. Sowore has lawyers, and if truly, the bail condition says you should provide 2 sureties. The bail is set at 1 million naira, 100 million naira. Also, the sureties should own property in Abuja worth 50 million naira each. Also, he should deposit his passport with the court. He must not leave Abuja. So, confirm to us, do we have 2 sureties who have met up with these conditions, who have shown up to stand bail for him?
Yeah, based on what I've read, I think they've met up with the conditions. All what is left for them is to release him because if they haven't met up with the condition, they will be coming up with the idea that that the people, that nobody came for him, or they didn't meet up with their own requirements or criteria. And recently, what I read is that even court is threatening to jail the DSS boss over the continuing detention of Sowore and Bakari.
Let me ask Sanami about this. Please confirm to us, have these bail conditions been met? 2 sureties who have property in Abuja worth 50 million naira each, and the other bail conditions, including that he would deposit his passport, he would not leave Abuja. Have these 2 sureties shown up?
Yes. as a requirement of the court, these shorties must show up, present all their documents, all the tax clearance that was required, and everything before the bail conditions are met. I'm aware that those were fully met. They were assessed by the judge who issued the bail, and she signed off on the order for their release. I think what the DSS is trying to do is they're trying to play around it. The truth is they don't want to release him. I think that's clear to everyone at this point. They don't want to release him. What I think the question we should be asking is, what is the legal basis for what they are doing? Except they want to grant him administrative bail, and even that can be challenged. But I don't think there's a legal basis that holds water as we speak that guarantees that someone's shorty has to show up before the person. And I think it's also employed by the DSS, which Nigerians must be aware of, to intimidate the shorties. Because so far, I remember when Nnamdi Kanu was granted bail, his shorties were highly publicized. We knew the people. One of them is still a senator as we speak today. But the fact that he was able to, it was stringent and it was deliberate. It was designed so that it would be unmeetable for him. The fact that he was able to meet it very quickly, and the fact that he was able to do that without, raising any noise, raising any dust. It got to a point people even thought that no one had showed up to stand shorties for him, but that was not true because people were working to see that happened. So I think they just want to know who the people are, probably as a move to intimidate them as well. If these shorties show up, which I doubt that his legal team will allow them to do. I'm sure the next thing you hear in the news is, they were either arrested.
Is the detail of the shorty, isn't this public information? Isn't this what anyone could access with the court?
Yeah, it is, yes. If you approach the Federal High Court in Abuja, the registrar of the court, the judge in this matter, this is public information that you can receive from the Federal High Court in Abuja. So it's nothing secret.
So if it's not secret, so again, I would imagine that you've been speaking with his lawyers, Femi Falana inclusive. So if this is not, why isn't this thrown to the public? So the DSS keeps emphasizing that the sureties haven't shown up. Why is this information not put up to the public?
Yeah, I think there have been repeated calls by his lawyer, or there has been repeated, talks by his lawyer in the media saying that it is not the responsibility of the DSS to request, if the court requests to see the shorty. But I remember the first bail condition, the one that was granted by Justice Taiwo. That condition had a cap. It required that Sowore be handed over to his lawyer, that is Femi Falana, when he has been granted bail. This second condition, and he agreed, and I'm sure you know that bill was flouted, despite the fact that Falana went there even at 10 a.m. saying that he was going to sleep at the DSS office until his client was released. And this time around, there's no cap. Falana and the lawyers have showed up multiple times with the court order to retrieve their clients, and this hasn't happened. And I think what this points to is the undermining of the judiciary, just like I talked about earlier, and the intimidation of the judiciary. I mean, a competent judge appointed by the Federal Republic of Nigeria has given an order for someone's release, and the DSS, and an agency, that answers to the executive, is telling a whole arm of government that, what the process they've gone through is not good enough, and that they have to impose their own measures before, complying with this other arm of government. It makes no sense. And it's a dangerous situation because if an agency of government, if the DSS, which is not even, it's not a full arm of government, it's not even an arm of government, it's just an agency that answers to the executive, if they can, demand their own conditions, overrule the decisions of the judiciary, I think we should all be worried.
Well, so now the DSS still has Sowore, while there are court orders demanding his release, and reports have that the conditions for his bail have been met and also attested to by the court. So what does this imply for our democracy, and what exactly does EIE and other organizations leading the conversation for his release, what do these organizations want to happen now?
The flouting or the disregard of court orders under this administration did not even start with Sowore'S case. Just like you said earlier, the Dasuki case is there, the El Zazaki case is there. But because I won't say we kept quiet, but we didn't speak up, or we didn't use our voice a lot. Probably that's why it happened again with Sowore'S. And if we continue to be silent about this issue, it can happen to anybody. Probably someone in Nigeria, or probably me, or anybody else. So that's why we need to continue to speak about it. We need to continue to use our voice to speak about this thing, because they've just slaughtered our democracy. They've just slaughtered our rule of law. And we can't continue to be silent about this thing. Some people died for this democracy. Some people's lives were laid down for it. And we can't just allow them to just waste their lives like that, because we've been silent about this disregard for court order by an agency of government is very loud. It's very loud. Silence is very loud. And there's a popular saying that says that the judiciary or the court is the last hope for a common man. But with this current reality now, do we need to start searching for another hope? Because if that can happen to Sowore'S, what's my own fate? If the judiciary can give me a kind of can grant me bail, and then an agency of government decide that we would decide against this court judgment, and then take our own action. So what's my own fate as a common man? What will happen to me? Who can I run to? So that's why we need to speak up against this thing as an individual. And just like I believe, some people believe that it's the NGO, the CSOs that they are professional activists. No, there's nothing like that. We are all activists. In our capacity, what are we doing? What are we doing against these things? We need to start we need to deliberately take some actions that we can use to speak against this evil. Our social media, we can write the National Assembly to address this issue, because this calls for this is a national issue that even was deliberating in the National Assembly. Because when an agency of government disregards the courts, I think it was discussion, it was a fruitful deliberation in the National Assembly. So we don't just need to be quiet about this thing. Definitely, we are doing our best. We are not silent about it, using all our platforms to engage and trying our best to see all what we can do. Even 2 weeks ago, our executive director, Yemi Adamalekun, was in Abuja to join the protest at the DSS headquarters office. And then while they were assaulting 2 journalists, one from Guardian, one from Galaxy, she was filming it with her phone, and then her phone was collected and was smashed. So that's the situation we have now. And then
now that you've taken us to that protest, which happened just about 2 weeks ago, thereabout, that protest was meant to be a sort of sit out in front of the SSS office. Actually, the DSS calls itself the DSS. It's actually the SSS. That's a state security service. Were the protesters violent? Why was there a reaction by the security agencies to turn them back? Were they violent? I know some journalists were also reportedly assaulted. We saw photos of journalists with bloodied face and all while covering that protest. Was it a violent protest?
No, it wasn't. It was peaceful. I'm sure you saw the video of people even sitting down on the
floor holding placards.
And then you had gunshots. You had them firing gunshots, although the bullets were flying up on their head. But at least to some extent, you are still kind of intimidating people with just for organizing peaceful protests. Yet they have been intimidated. They have been sent away just like that. And even I remember the Jadianju was also claimed that some people gave him 1 million naira or so to stop the protests. Why are we doing all these things? Just because, to some extent, it's very, very bad that we are at this level, that our democracy is at this level, that we should be thinking of advancing or moving towards a perfect democracy. But we have every day we are drawing farther away from it. We are far away from it. We shouldn't be I agree that there is no perfect democracy, but I believe that we should be moving towards a perfect democracy, not to be moving further away from it.
Well, if you're wondering the role of the SSS, the State Security Service, which has self-styled, you can say, called itself the DSS, as a Department of State Services. Under the law, the agency is actually recognized as State Security Service, and it is a primary domestic intelligence agency of Nigeria. It's primarily responsible for intelligence gathering within the country and for the protection of senior government officials, particularly the president and state governors. So there's a breakdown of the involvement of the SSS over the years, but particularly right now, according to the law, they report directly, take instructions kind of from the president. So Sanami, we haven't heard anything from the president on this matter now, have we? Or did we miss it?
No, he hasn't personally commented. But it's just like you said, the DSS answers to the president. If they have refused to release Sowore, they are acting on the instructions of the president because he's the only one they answer to. So these are things that we must begin to see. And also I want to call the attention of Nigerians to the fact that what is going on, it is our collective responsibility as a people to talk, not because, we like Sowore'S face, not because we're fans of what he's doing, not because, we have our sentiments as Nigerians. But I think this is a time for us to be unified. And I'll tell you why. I tweeted the other day and I said, they came for Sowore and no one spoke about it. It was just pockets of protest here and there, pockets of people speaking. And they were pushing, the boundaries. They've done a couple of other things after that. And now there is a strategic introduction of the hate speech bill, the social media bill. We're hearing, and I've heard from even authoritative sources within the presidency, of a grand plot, to have a third-term agenda, to have the constitution amended. We had the Senate president come out to say that he will do whatever the president asked him to do in this administration and stuff like that. So, it's a big picture. I know it's segmented into bits and pieces, but in time it will all come together. My encouragement to Nigerians would be not to be silent, because if you're silent when issues like this happen, you're testing the waters. And they see, okay, we take this one, no one talks. They'll pick the next person to the extent that they'll be emboldened to say, okay, let's shut down the internet in the country, or let's propose a bill that will kill citizens for, simply speaking. So these are things that we have to watch out for. We have to guard our democracy jealously, because this is all we have. We've been fueled by government. The average Nigerian is a local government on his own. He provides electricity for himself. He provides water for himself. He provides everything. The only thing we have is our voice and the hope that we can effect change with our voice. So we mustn't be silent when things happen.
Right. Let me read some comment from Twitter before we head out for a break. We have a comment here from Joy Forever, who says, truth is that Sowore will stay longer than imagined. Why do you say so? Says, even nobody is obeying laws, forgetting we are breeding anarchy. Our leaders need to watch it, only that we forget history. Ask French people, when people are pushed too much, reactions follow. We also have this one coming in from Toluwala Sheoluwapalumi, who says, all I can say about the Sowore issue is that, number one, stop enabling tyrants. They will come for you. 2, stop using your platforms, media, whatever, for certain political actors. You blame yourself forever. We also have a comment from WhatsApp from Raphael Adegoke, who says it's a shame that the government is displaying the attitude of a military junta as it continuously disobeys court orders. This attitude shows the government does not give a hoot about fair justice and the rule of law. I'll be reading more of your comments. I see them coming in on WhatsApp. The number is 080-9597-5805, 080-9597-5805. That's the WhatsApp number. We're looking at the continued detention prosecution of Sowore despite court orders granting him bail with several conditions that his lawyers insist have been met. You can join the conversation on the phone after the break. We have joining us Shewa Kiyemi from Enough is Enough Nigeria, and also Sanami Koja, who's a news editor at Sahara Reporters. Please hold the line. We'll be back in a moment. Just going out for a quick break. I'm Wemimo Adewuni. Join us again.
From your number one talk news and sports station. This is the Morning Crossfire with Wemimo and Sheriff. 99.3 Nigeria Info.
We're back. It's 99.3 Nigeria Info, and today we're looking at the continued detention of Sowore, who was a presidential candidate in the past election and who also called for a protest, a revolution, and which was also called the Days of Rage. I read out key demands of the protest, which was highlighted by the group then. It demanded government obligation to pay the 30,000 naira minimum wage, abolition of tuition fees in universities and secondary schools, stopping the killings in the countries, and sacking all incompetent service chiefs. Some of the other things demanded included stopping all estimated billings by power companies, providing prepaid meters for free, communities reserving the right to audit electricity bills while also reviewing the licenses of discos, freedom of all political prisoners, including El Tazaki and his wife, who had been in government custody at the time, and also demand for employment for the youth. According to the government, the protest had been an attempt to disrupt the peace of the country. Subsequently, it attracted a treason felony charge, as well as cyber stalking and money laundering charges, amongst others. But Sowore was first granted bail September 24th. After 6 weeks in detention, he was arraigned before a court in Abuja, which was ignored. September 30th, he was also arraigned before another high court with the same charges. October 4th, a different judge granted him bail again under strict conditions. The bail conditions, bail was set as 100 million naira, with a requirement of two sureties who owned property in Abuja worth 50 million naira each. Other bail conditions were that he would not leave Abuja during the duration of the trial and that he would deposit his passport with the court. After some modifications to the terms of release, November 6th, an order was issued mandating the DSS to release him. But 20 days after, Sowore is still in detention. About 2 weeks ago, there were protests in Abuja by people demanding his release, and reports that we got show that many of them were tear gassed and dispersed with live ammunition, with Sowore's lawyer Femi Falana confirming this to the media. We'll come over to you right now to tell us what you make of this conversation. We have joining us on the phone two guests. We have Shewa Kiyemi from Enough is Enough Nigeria. They've been pushing for the release of Sowore, agitating as an organization. Also, Sanami Koja is a news editor from Sahara Reporters. If you wish to join the conversation right now, here are the numbers that you can call.
Call us on 0127709993, 0127719993, 0127729993, and 0127739993. This is Nigeria Info. We are listening.
We are listening. If you want to join us on WhatsApp, the number is 08095975805. 08095975805. Justice is joining us from Lekki. Morning, Justice.
Yeah,
good morning. I can barely hear you, Justice. Can you speak louder?
Yeah, I can speak louder. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, it's much better.
Okay, now. Here at Nigerians, so we have to say the truth. Not be using somebody.
Justice, your line is very faint. Can you speak into your phone?
Yeah, I'm speaking to my phone now.
Oh, okay.
Hello, are you hearing me now?
Aha, this is better now.
Okay, now. We are all Nigerians. You can't use somebody's word. Come on, do our own thing. Look at that lady that is saying what Ahmed Lawal said. It's not like that. It's not a bad thing or good thing. It's a good thing that when Mr. President here has, he will do it. Just what happened to that last administration, what Salaki was doing. That is why the man said that.
I'm sorry, Justice. I would have to let you go because I can hardly get what you're saying. So I'm not following your conversation, okay? I can barely hear you. If you can try call us again on any of the other numbers. Remember that the first number, 012770993, is for female callers only, 01277 female callers only. And the WhatsApp number is 08095975805. Let me read some messages from WhatsApp. Shola from Agbara says, if Sowore did meet his bail conditions, it should be released, just like they want to let Maina go soon. We also have another comment here from please remember to include your name. King Graf says, I don't understand this government. Dasuki is in the same situation. It's a shame that our judicial system has no say. A guarantee that disobedience of court order will continue until will the people react positively to change the change. We also have a comment from no name. Please remember to include your name. If there's no name, I can't read your message. Pastor Oladipo Ayemo from Orile Gomu says, if the entire court in Nigeria gathered and grant Sowore bail, the government will still not obey. If a whole echo was granted, I don't know what this means. I think it's mean if the courts could grant bail to Dasuki until now they refuse to release him. So it's saying Sowore should just enjoy part of what he helped to come to power. Well, that's coming from Pastor Oladipo. Let me see this one. I'm coming to the phone in a moment. We have a comment from Chinedu from Midumota who says, it's unfortunate we found ourselves here. Some people saw this coming, but because of interest, even this Sowore brought us where we are. So I've heard people say that, well, Sowore got it coming. He was also a part of this government or advocating for this government. Now he's asking people to protest against what the government is doing. So it serves him right. But here we're talking about human rights, and everyone's got a right to vote or campaign for whoever they want based on their ideals and what they believe in. So is this one of the reasons you think Nigerians are refusing to come out to demand his release? Chill.
Oh, well, going back to the issue of that Sowore'S past that brought the Buhari government to power, I believe that's why they made the minimum age for you to vote 18 years old. So you'll be able to know your left from your right. Even despite someone pushing you, you can decide for yourself that, no, this person is wrong or this person is right. So people, I would see that people trying to shift the blame from themselves to other people because they are now not okay with the government, then they are now looking forward to transfer the blame to. So that's the way I perceive that. Because
you're saying people made their own personal decisions, but they're hanging it on someone else?
Yes, because they are 18 years. So even someone pushing you, telling you that, oh, do this, do that, you are old enough to be able to decide for yourself. Maybe what this person is telling you is good, is right or not. Well,
Timilai from Lekki says, until we Nigerians really hold our leaders accountable for their actions, I don't see a way out. They will keep on making decisions as if they own us. Let me see this one. Wale from Lagos says, I'm tired of hoping for things to get better. We're just in an unfortunate situation. Let's see who's on the line here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, today's program is one man Mopo, only you in the studio.
Well, I'm capable. Sheriff is away.
Quick one. Please, my name is Taiwo, calling from the Baja.
Welcome, Taiwo.
Please, I don't know why Buhari's government has chosen to disobey court order. This is not the first time we are witnessing this. At least we can talk about three, very prominent cases, like 3 or 4, since Buhari assumed office in 2015. This is uncalled for. At least judiciary, when they rule and they say, okay, this is how you should go, people should learn to respect court order. You understand? Because I don't know. Court ruled that, okay, this guy should be released on bail, and he has made the bail conditions. Why holding him back? For God's sake. God will help us. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling. Sanami, one other comment I heard made from the DSS was that, what if they release him and he gets hit by a car? Or if they release him to the mob and he gets... he's maybe trampled by the mob. Was this statement really made by the DSS? What does it mean?
Yes, the statement was made by Peter Afnaya, the spokesperson of the DSS. It's in the public domain. That's one. Then two, I think it just, as much as we want to laugh it off, because it is funny and mind-boggling that the image maker of Nigeria's top secret service agency can, speak in such a manner. So it is shocking. But the fact that I think Nigerians must also be alert to the undertones in what he's saying. I mean, it's not just normal. I can't come and address a press conference, and the first thing on my mind when I'm addressing journalists about a political prisoner, a prisoner of conscience, is that what if he gets hit? I think, in my opinion, that this is an indicator to a larger, probably a sinister plot, and Nigerians must not take it lightly. Sowore'S safety and well-being must be accounted for. He went in there, he was abducted from his residence, he went in there hale and hearty. In the process of abduction, they dealt him some injuries, which I'm aware that he has been battling with, even in detention. But nothing must happen to him. That is the message I think Nigerians must send to the DSS.
Well, it appears like the SSS was trying to protect him by saying they don't want him to get hit by a vehicle. I mean, can his lawyers protect him from being hit by a vehicle?
Well, I mean, the man is 48 years old. He's it's beyond, but it just shows you how they think that Nigerians are, because they know that when they tell us this stuff, they get away with it.
Let me hold you a minute and speak with Atibong, who's on the line. Atibong, thank you for holding the line. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Wemimo. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, how are you doing today?
Fantastic, thank you.
Salawi and Cheryl, good morning to you both.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, the case of Sowore'S is a very complex one. Easy but very complex because of the players in the situation or the people who are holding the fort in the situation. But as hard as this is very difficult to unpack, I think this is the mindset of at least a good number of, or a majority of Nigerians. Sahara reporters as a group, as truthful as they have always been, as media has always been, was a very, very key player in the emergence of this government, whether we like to agree or not. Whether we like to agree that people have to be mature and make their choices for voting, we need to know what the influences are. We've had America talk about Facebook and the rest of the Sahara reporters was very key. And probably that's the reason why a good number of Nigerians are not even looking at it. And secondly, very, very important, this has been a precedent that has gone on from the beginning of this government. I mean, I have names, I was just discussing with a colleague right now, that we can't even figure out where they are right now. I mean, we've not known where Olisa Metu is currently and what his case is like. It was this government that took him in. We heard about bails, not bail, court orders, not court orders, and that was it. Atuki, we don't know. And Nnamdi Kanu was at the point missing in this country. Right now, we are hearing today Israel, next tomorrow Britain, next tomorrow United States. We are now allowing him come back and all. I mean, there's been this precedent ongoing, and people have not spoken or fought as much as they should have fought for this. I mean, all of us Nigerians have not fought as much as we would have fought. So you can't expect us to just wake up in the morning and just shoot up. And it's important, it's serious, it's terrible, it's mind-boggling what is going on. And this is a former presidential candidate. We have a case where Donald Trump is currently facing impeachment for looking for death. And we have a president or a government who has found a way with an agency to hold on a former candidate who contested against him in the last election. It's very crazy. But Salawi has mentioned something, and I will reiterate it, but there is definitely going to be one thing that will bring all of us out very soon, close to 2022. I'm not sure the Sowore'S situation will get as much traction because, in this country, money does a lot. Yeah. And if you're unable to throw away money as much as you can, you may not really get people. We'll keep fighting. It's quite unfortunate.
Thank you so much for calling us, Atibong. For those that will be calling right after, I need you to tell me now. There are court orders that have been disobeyed. Remember that the new CJ and Tanko Muhammad, when he came into office, gave a very strongly worded speech saying he would not tolerate disobedience of court orders. And we have three arms of government. We have that for checks and balances. So what do you expect the judiciary to do now that these court orders have been insistently and consistently disobeyed? And what do you expect the legislature to do? They should be there for checks and balances. Do we see these checks and balances happening? If not, what do you expect the judiciary, for instance, to then do? Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Concerned about Sowore.
Yes, please give me your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Adewuni.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I think my main concern is Sowore legal team need to get more advanced.
What do you think they should do now?
Okay, they need to further their advances in terms of knowledge. If there is any means, they can go to Supreme Court or Appeal Court to challenge the authority of DSS, the federal government, everybody that are involved. They need to get the legal team together. Instead of talking to the news, talking to the media, they need to move ahead and see the legal means to challenge the authority of federal government for holding people down in detention for no. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling. Let me read some comment from WhatsApp quickly. Prince Will here says, the bill the Senate should be presenting is hate behavior bill, not hate speech bill. It says, for instance, there can't be hate speech without hate behavior. If the government refuses to release Dasuki, Ezazaki and Sowore, that is hate behavior. And one day the people might protest and speak against the government, and then it will be called hate speech. Quite an analogy there. We also have a comment here from Shegun says, Wemimo, the international community is laughing at Nigeria. We're losing our respect on a daily basis before the world. Jonathan is on the line from Ladipo. Jonathan, welcome.
Yeah, Wemimo, how are you doing?
Great, good morning.
Thanks for this interview and all the knowledge that you give. You know, I have a thought around this all what we have been discussing. Number one, the judiciary. You know, one of your guests was saying judiciary are pressured. They are not pressured. They have told their rights. They play, especially to the politicians. They have told their rights. Normally, if a judgment is given, the executive is supposed to follow it. If they are not following it, I expect the judiciary to start talking. But because they have told their rights, it becomes an issue. Number two, even we as citizens, we are also a problem. You know why? Now, one of the guests also said they have not been. No, people have been speaking before now. I hope you are hearing me.
I can hear it, yes, Jonathan.
People have been speaking before now. It's not that we are speaking in section. Because if Dasuki does not relate to me, people have not been talking. Now that it's Sowore, some other people are coming out to talk. We cannot keep on living like that as a people. If you affect this person, let all of us get on the street and talk about it. We can't be speaking in section. And we are not going to make headway. We are not going to. Then Sowore in particular, I want to talk about him. He's somebody that I really like. But I think at the point, somebody will tell him, you need to tell him to calm down. His case is just, you remember the WikiLeaks guy, Julian Assange. You remember him? His case is just like that guy's case. You know, when you step on toes too much, it becomes an issue. If the judgment, they have met the bail requirement, I wonder why he is not free. That, you know, you asked that question. Yeah. I also wonder why. Because I'm having some doubt around that point. You understand? I'm having some doubt.
About whether his bail conditions had been met?
Yes.
Well, his lawyers insist that the bail conditions have been met, and the court has also given a direction.
It has been met. People that find out something for him. We have not heard anything about them all this while.
But they have submitted themselves to the court, and then the court has given the order for his release based on the bail conditions being met.
Definitely, and I also believe they are not supposed to present themselves to DSS. But I don't know what is going on around that angle. I don't know.
Right.
All I have to just say is, Sowore'S to calm down. He's a nice guy, very knowledgeable guy, has a vision for this country, but he just stepped down a little bit.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Solomon from Okildo on WhatsApp says, "Good morning, presenter. My name is Wemimo, by the way." Says it's true Sowore was campaigning for the current ruling party back then, but that shouldn't be the reason why people should laugh at him. Sowore meant well for Nigeria, but unfortunately, he later discovered he was a deceit, which he had to display his constitutional right to speak out on our behalf. Let the government follow the rule of law. We also have here on WhatsApp a comment coming in from King Graf. Says a government that appoints IGP, ANEC boss, and so on. What do we expect? The system is not well. It's as simple as that. Godfrey here says the fight against Sowore is a fight against the masses. He as soul should rise and fight for his release. It says, okay, let me keep it there. Remember, your comment must be, good for radio. Good morning, Razak.
Good morning, Wemimo.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Please, I want to ask a question and as well make a suggestion.
All right.
This Sowore case here, can we get a lawyer, a learned lawyer that come and speak on this program on it? If there is a court judgment and the government is not following the court judgment, what are the processes? What are the rules guiding judgment? What is it expected of the lawyer of the defendant? Then what are the processes that they will need to follow to force the government of the day to follow the court order? Because there people are saying a lot of things. We are not sure if he has met his bail condition. The
thing is, if he hasn't met his bail conditions, the court will not give the order for his release. The bail conditions are met to the court, not to the DSS. So,
the time that the DSS claimed that there is nobody coming forth for him.
No, but that's not what the law says. Nobody should come to the DSS. They go to the court.
Adewuni also, what's that guy's name?
Deji
went and they said he's not in the right position to come for him. Then if he has met his conditions, the lawyer is there. Why can't the lawyer go and get him? If they claim that the person, they can't say the lawyer cannot come for him. A lawyer, a son of Femi Falana, the person they cannot say that they can't come for him. So we should try and persuade people that have done shorty for. Let them go and see if they will release him or not. Because this issue of me, as my own opinion is that probably they are just, all of us are playing hide and seek. Now, the people that stand shorty for him should go out, let them come out, how do I put it? Let them come out to the public and say, we have been there, and this guy refused to release him. So that Nigerians will know that this government is really playing prank with us. Thank you. Have a lovely day.
Thank you so much, Razak. Razak is asking vital questions. Senami, I asked a couple of these questions earlier. Why don't we see the sureties come out in public and say, hey, I'm surety number 1, hey, I'm surety number 2, and I've met the conditions?
Yeah, so I think Nigerians at this point should focus on holding their government, holding President Muhammadu Buhari, who they elected as president, accountable as to why he consistently flouts court orders and not hold Sowore shorties accountable. Sowore shorties are private citizens. They are people who have stood for either a friend or a family member in a time of problem. They are nobody's business except the court. No one, it's not.
And they have shown themselves up to the court.
They have showed themselves to the court. The judge has vetted them personally. She has signed off on an order. I think Nigerians should be more concerned about holding the government accountable to why it continues to detain Sowore. And then there's another thing that I want to address.
Okay, very quickly on this one.
Yes, a reoccurring rhetoric, the fact that people claim that Sowore was one of the people who helped in bringing President Muhammadu Buhari to office. And I say to people who say that, it's funny because it's a convenient narrative that people who are not, who do not agree with his style of journalism, who do not agree with his style of activism, put to play. Does anyone have any evidence, any link anywhere, any photo, any video, where he openly declared his support, for President Muhammadu Buhari at that time?
I'm going to be asking this very big question on social media, where I expect that we'll take this conversation up, but we really must go now. Senami Koja, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Senami is a news editor at Sahara Reporters. Shewa Kiyami from Enough is Enough Nigeria has also been with me on the show. Shewa, thank you so much.
Thank you, Wemimo.
All right, have a good day. Nigeria, let's keep talking on social media. You can tell me more at Wemimo Sport on Twitter. I would love to hear from you, but I really must go now. We'll be back tomorrow. Sheriff will also be back, and we have more conversations coming up for you. Have a fantastic, fantastic day. We thank Tosin Akinrede Ivonokai for ending up your keen for assisting, and Wemimo Adewuni. Have a good day.
More talk, news, and sports after this.